And the morning sun rises on our second day in Vintage Story. Hello everyone, my name is Kurazar, and welcome back to the Vintage Story Guide. If you have been playing along with the new guide series, then congratulations! You've made it through your first day and first night in the game. Time to panic! There's a lot to do, so just like last time, let's get to it. Last time we made our way from way down there in the limestone and Turk desert up through here, got chased by a boar, and we finally found a place to call our own, or at least to hopefully call our own until a bear comes and claims it. As I have noted before, we are a very hungry boy, and our hunger bar is going to be vibrating at us for forever. If I'm being real, it's forever. So today, we are going to take steps to solving our food crisis. And just looking around, I can already see lots of crops all around us. Last night, while we were getting some sticks, we stumbled across these bad boys over here. I didn't make mention of it because we weren't in a position to do anything at the time, but we have some parsnips over here. And we have some more of the field mushrooms to collect as well. Those are always good to have on hand. Let's grab these guys. But we'll come back to the parsnips, and we're going to collect some mushrooms and some berries. We need a little bit of breakfast. And I might be a little less cautious about running just because we do have a lot to do, and I want to get around to places faster. Is that a bear? Nope, that is a piece of cobblestone, it looks like, in the distance. We'll check that out later, I think. I want to focus on getting food right now. We got mushrooms galore. Oh my goodness. Oh, and right there, I believe that's the first time it's come up as far as affecting us. But since we are a blackguard, sometimes when we harvest a wild crop or resin from a pine tree, sometimes we'll get nothing. And that's kind of rough, but them's the shakes. Let's get back to our home here. I'm going to put a few things away, grab some more berries off these bushes here. And again, I'm not really looking to collect bushes for quite a while. And berry bushes also require a resource that we don't have access to yet in the Stone Age. So I'm not going to worry about them for the time being. But we want to solve our food crisis. We can do that in one of several ways. We could go hunting. That will solve it temporarily. We could go fishing. Also, temporary solution. We could go foraging, which will work for a while, but eventually we'll have to go farther and farther afield to find things like crops and mushrooms and berries while we wait for the ones closer to us to regrow. We're going to start by stretching the food we already have, and for that we need clay, because we need to start being able to make meals, because meals provide a lot more benefit than eating raw ingredients like these berries, and even more than cooking, say, meat on a fire. Meat on a fire is good, but meat in a pot is better. You could say that we're in the market for a square meal. Yeah, they fell for it again, the fools. Anyway, in order to find clay, we need to actually find it, which I just saw it right here. But I want to show you how to actually look for clay if you're struggling to find it. If you are using the color accurate world map like we are, you can open your map and zoom in a little bit, and you'll see that there are patches of different colored grass scattered here and there around the map. We have something kind of brown here and over here. And up here is a different color, kind of paler. Now, let's go take a look at both of these. We'll go over here first to this one. Right in here, we have a resource called peat. Peat is a type of fuel you can dig up from the ground and burn it straight away without having to process it with an axe. Now, we will need some of this today, but we're going to come back for that later once we are ready to actually use it. Over here, we have this sort of pinkish color in the world map. And as we get closer, you'll see we have red clay in soil with sparse grass on it. And this, my friends, is why we're here. So we'll take a shovel and we're going to get to work digging up a few of these. We'll maybe get, I don't know, say a stack, maybe 2 stacks of this red clay. Now, red clay isn't the only kind of clay you'll find in the world. You may also find blue clay and fire clay. Blue clay is quite rare, and currently is only found very close to water, and specifically very close to sea level. You won't really find it above Y 110 to 112, I think. So if you find blue clay, you're probably better off saving it because there are fancier things you can do with the different clay colors later, and given that it is rarer than red clay, may as well save it. Fire clay is the third type of clay in the game, and fire clay naturally only spawns in two main places. One, it can spawn underneath underground deposits of both black coal and anthracite coal, and if you're very lucky, and you have a bauxite desert, bauxite being a very orange stone, but if you have a bauxite desert near where you're living, you may find some patches of fire clay directly inside that desert area. But fire clay, likewise, is rare, and it has certain specialty uses, so my recommendation is don't use that for what we're going to do today either. Stick with red clay. It's your best bet. And now that we have our clay, we're going to hop inside our little hovel and just close the doors. And I'm going to do something that might seem strange if you're a new player. I'm going to break and replace both of these torches. And the reason is that torches, when they're placed in the world, have a 48-hour burn timer. Once 48 hours passes, they burn out to a stub and cannot be relit nor reused. They just break when you punch them. In your hand, they last forever, so not a problem with that. And in case you're wondering, I am able to unlock the mouse by pressing and holding the Alt key on the keyboard. Likewise, if I have my inventory open and my mouse is already unlocked, I can press Alt to instead move my view while I have the inventory open. That includes other inventories as well, such as baskets. And we're going to get into some clay forming here. We have a couple main things that we need to make. In order to cook our meals, we need to make a cooking pot. And then to eat them, we need to make a bowl, or bowls. To get started, you're going to take your clay in your hotbar slot, and you're going to crouch and right-click on the ground. Similar to knapping with the flint or chert or other stone, you'll get a recipe selector that comes up, and you can look at all the different options available. Now, we will need to use probably most or all of these at some point, and I would like to make all of them at some point, but for today, we're going to make 4 red clay cooking pots and 4 bowls. This might seem like overkill, but having more than one bowl and more than one pot is actually very handy. Now, in order to build your bowls, or form your bowls and your pots, you're going to use similar mechanics as knapping, but instead of just removing, like this with left click, you can also add with right click, like this. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to remove everything that is outlined in orange. That means it needs to be removed. And here you'll see we have a kind of a big swath of voxels to remove. If you press, in my case, L, but in your case, probably F, you can get another selector that will give you options of a 1x1, a 2x2, a 3x3, or a duplicate layer option. So you can use these to more quickly remove or add large chunks of clay. And we'll actually use that here to quickly fill out all of these bowls and all of these pots. And what I'm doing here is I'm actually holding Alt while I work, because otherwise you end up moving your head a lot when you work on this, and it can be quite annoying. Now, once you finish the base of these, you'll see that a new layer has appeared. So we're going to switch over to the 1x1, and for the bowls, we're going to go ahead and hold down right click as we add in all these voxels. And there we go. The bowls are done and ready, but not ready to be eaten from yet. Let's finish up the pots. Each unit of clay in your hand provides 25 voxels worth of material for clay forming. Now, as you can see, we have more layers to go for the pots, and this is going to get tiring. So we can switch over to duplicate layer mode and just hold down right click, and it will add 4 voxels at a time across the whole thing. And you can keep doing that layer by layer until you get to a new layer that's different, or you finish the object. Oh, and there we go. Let's go ahead and remove this that we added by accident. We'll switch back to the 1x1, and we will finish up this top layer right here. There we go. We now have 4 raw red clay cooking pots and 4 raw red clay bowls. And we're going to put away our clay here. I'm going to remove this and the door, and I think the helicopter. We're going to pop these away, and we're going to, I guess we'll put the vine up here as like decoration. Beautiful. I love it. We're going to put the door in here as fuel because this thing is garbo. And the little maple helicopter, I think I'm going to go plant that somewhere. Let's go plant that somewhere like over here, somewhere that's kind of far from the base, because we want to have room to expand and I don't want to have to wait for a tree to grow. We'll just crouch and right click, and there we go. And we eat 2 berries before we starve. So we about to. Now, while we're already out here, let's just grab the crops that we can see. And oh, here we go. We also have our first sighting of a rift. This is a rift, folks. You want to stay away from these generally. Now, during the day, they're a lot less of a threat unless they're near some dark space like a cave or your unlit house. But other than that, you can get pretty close, but you'll see when we get too close, our gear starts to spin backwards and things get weird. Things get really weird really fast. So don't do that. Bad news, okay? At night, you want to stay away from them hardcore because they will spawn monsters in the dark. But right now, it's fairly harmless. As long as you don't, go sniff it. Let's just grab all of these flax seeds and all of the potential food we may or may not get. I'll give you a hint. We won't get much because we're a blackguard. And wild crops also, just in general, give you a lot fewer resources than farmed crops. As you can see, we got 1 spelt grain so far. Oh, we got 2 more. We're going to starve. We're dead. The important thing with wild crops is gathering all of their seeds. Now, let's get back here to what we were doing. We need to take those raw red clay items, and we need to make them significantly less raw now. Now, to do that, we need fire. Lots of fire. And we're going to need a place to burn them. Vintage Story has a concept of pit kilns, like old-fashioned traditional Stone Age kilns where you dig a hole in the ground, fill it with your clay stuff, fill it with burnable stuff, and then light it on fire and come back and hopefully you have clay stuff. Now, in Vintage Story, there's no chance for your clay items to shatter when you're cooking them like this, so you don't have to worry about that. But you do have to worry about things catching fire, which is why I am raking all this grass down to the roots and leaving a flat square, a flat plane of a surface here that does not have any grass growing on it. Now we're going to dig 4 holes. We're going to dig them, say, here, and here, and here, and here. It's going to be our first pit kiln area. This one probably won't last very long here. We'll want to make a bigger one very soon. Just like in the real world, water and fire don't mix very well, so we're going to also make a little roof to put over these guys, so that when it rains, or if it rains, it does not rain directly onto our pit kilns. The same is true, by the way, for any campfires like this. Rain will put your fire out, so cover it up. And we're going to grab the bowls and the pots, and we'll head up here. We're going to place all of them in these holes. We're going to look at the sort of in a quadrant here to place them in 4s. If you look at the middle of the block, you'll put it in the middle, and then you can't put anything around it. But since we can fit 4 into one pit kiln, it's going to be far more fuel efficient to do so. Now, to finish this off, we need to add 10 grass to each by crouching and right-clicking in the pit kiln. And once you have all 10 in, it will stop letting you put more in. And then each of these requires 8 sticks, which is most of our stick collection at this point. And then we need the actual fuel. Now, I did mention we have peat over here. We also have some firewood, but peat burns hotter, and in a pit kiln specifically, it burns faster. So we're going to get just enough here to do the pit kiln, plus maybe some more cooking. So we'll get, I don't know, 20 or so. And we're going to fill these up. Now I'm seeing a problem already, which is that this grass is awfully close. Pit kilns can ignite flammable blocks up to 2 blocks away from the top of this. This air block here will be where the fire is. It can ignite blocks 2 blocks away, using taxicab geometry. So it can't get this block technically, but it can get this one. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to actually chop down to this grass as well. And just make sure we have a complete ring around here that is clear of rats. Now we could also, instead of cutting the grass, or in addition to it, we could also place non-flammable blocks, things that won't grow grass on them, like the packed dirt or the rammed earth. But for now, this is fine. The grass will not regrow as we have not disturbed the earth beneath it. So with that all done, we can go ahead and crouch and hold right click until we see flames. And congratulations, we are now master sculptors. We're also still hungry. In the immediate term, there are some more solutions that will keep us fed while we wait for those to cook. Right over here, we have a whole bunch of tulle, which is fine, but thatch isn't my favorite roofing option, so I don't really feel the need to preserve these. We also have cattails, which I do want to preserve. Both of these have roots or rhizomes that you can eat. However, like I mentioned in the first episode, they are not replenishable, so once you lose the root, that particular cattail or tulle is gone forever. Luckily, we don't care about tulle. Can I get the root by digging it right away? No, I actually have to cut the top off with a knife, and then I can dig the root up. Let's go ahead and do some of that. We'll get some thatch here. Maybe we'll get a primitive roof on, even if it isn't my favorite type of roof to build with. Once you have the top cut off, you can use the knife to pull the roots out, but this can take a while, as you can see, or you can use a shovel, which is much faster. Now, veteran players will note that we're picking things up off the ground a lot faster than before. And that is not a mod, that is actually a change in Vintage Story 1.22. And now you will be able to pick items up pretty much instantly, which means it's going to be a lot more convenient to build things at high elevations. So if you're trying to remove blocks from your roof and you drop one, you can catch it right away rather than, having to run it onto the ground to pick it up. So I'm going to pick up a whole bunch of these and we'll take them inside and we'll work with them in just a minute. Okay, it is now later in the evening, getting on toward nightfall. It's time for us to head inside and do something about our hunger here. So we have these wild rhizomes here, tulle roots. We can either plant them again, or we can also cook them in here with our crude door. I'm going to save this for later. I have something special in mind for you. We can go ahead and cook some of these up. Let's maybe do, half of them. And the reason I'm doing half is that once they're cooked, they only last a little while. So it's better to only cook them as you need them. There we go. Something else new in Vintage Story 1.22 is that you'll notice that the stack will take a long time to heat up. But once it does, the stack will stay hot here, and it will continue cooking them. So generally speaking, you have to babysit your fires less. But the end result is usually that you're using a little bit less fuel, but not always. So we are actually going to sit for real, as we sit and watch our fire. And the reason is that that will also reduce how fast our food goes down. As you can see, we're losing about 0.1 per second. If we move around, you'll see that it goes down a lot faster. Let's sit. Let's also maybe give this some more fuel. Here we go. As you can see, the stack is still hot, and this is continuing to push cooked wild rhizomes into the output slot there. I have a berry here to stave off last hunger. And we're just going to keep this hot by feeding it more fuel now and then. This part isn't terribly exciting, so I'll bring all of you back when we have some cooked food. Okay, we have our last wild rhizome cooking right now. These don't make for the most stupendous eating, but they will keep us alive. They also take a ton of fuel to cook, my goodness. But they give us a little bit more satiation than berries. Berries give us 80, these give us 100, and we have 1,500 total here, so each one of these fills up one of these bars, denoted by these pips here. Now, night is a good time to do a lot of base operations, organization, thinking, looking at the map. It's a great time to look around the map and see what kinds of things could be useful. Now this pertains mostly to the color accurate map. If you're on the parchment map, it can be not as useful. But here we can look around and see where there are lighter colored green things growing here in the grass. Some of these are flowers, like the yellows are flowers, but these guys, these are probably some kind of grain. I'm not sure what this might be, perhaps bushes, but we can check that out in the morning. We might have some more flowers and or grain up here. Any small patches of dark green like this might indicate other kinds of vegetables, not so much green, but maybe turnips or parsnips or carrots. And we're going to want to go and check those out in the morning. It's also a great time to configure your mods, if you've forgotten to like I have. And to that end, I'm going to showcase a mod that we're going to be using in this playthrough. It is called Auto Map Markers. By default, you open it up by pressing Ctrl-Shift-M, and that'll bring up the settings. You do have to click this to enable it, otherwise it does nothing. And here you can configure all of the things that you want to have automatically marked on your map. You can mark them by interacting with them, or by sneaking while looking at them. I'm going to do that because I don't want to mark everything. Like if I'm picking up vegetables and things, I don't want them to be marked if I'm just going to take them home. But if you sneak and look at an object, it will then put the item or the marker right on your map. But I'm going to go through here and I'm going to configure my icons the way I like them. You might like them a different way, but I'll go and scroll through them after I have them all set up for you. Okay, after a few minutes of setup, I have everything the way that I like to have it set. As you can see, everything is all ready to roll. And now it is 3:30 and starting to get light. Let's have a bit of a snack. And I'm going to organize things around here. We're going to put down our firewood. But Kurazar, your basket's probably close to full. It is full. Where's it going to go? Well, Vintage Story has a concept known as ground storage, where you can generally crouch and right-click and put things on the ground. Or pick them up if you're not crouching. You can also crouch and sprint to add about 4 times as many items at once into ground storage. So that's what we'll do. Firewood under the stairs. Heat, maybe not right next to the fire, maybe right here. There we go. We can even store things like tools against the wall. Maybe we'll put the fire starter maybe next to the fire. So we'll crouch and shift and aim at the edge of the block here, and it goes right there. And I think that should be good. Oh, we have some thatch. Oh, thatch. Let's just pile you up here if we can. Oh, not very well. Good enough. But now we have a nice, fresh, largely unspoiled inventory. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to turn this into packed dirt and then into rammed earth, just to fill that in. And this piece of dirt is going to go there. And let's take a peek outside. It's awful quiet. I don't trust it, but it could mean good things for us. Well, let's cautiously proceed. We need to go and find seeds to start a farm with. Because our next topic today is farming. We have the ability to cook the food. We need to grow the food now. So we're going to go to all these little patches we found and also pick up mushrooms along the way. It's also good to clear the brush near your home so that you can have a clear view of the terrain around you, even if that means breaking a lot of the leaves that you wouldn't normally bother with because they don't have sticks in them. Alright, new tools in hand. Let's take a look at the map here. What's right next to us? These are just some bushes and some flowers, so those aren't anything. I see some more greenery down here. Let's see what's over in this direction. Here we go. Here's some flax that we missed the first time around. Pick that up. We got a piece of flax twine, but no grain. And nothing. Oh, here we go. Here's some more grain up here. So we'll get this as well. So we're going to spend a little while just wandering the countryside, looking for things to eat, but more importantly, things to farm. We're also going to be on the lookout for anything large and mobile. It's not a bear, that's a ruin. We'll look at ruins later. They are very interesting, but they're also time-consuming, and we need to be food-consuming, not time-consuming. Now, where to look for food? Obviously, deserts, bad idea. But it might not be immediately obvious that you shouldn't look in forests. I like to say that in forests, you don't find food, you are the food. Forest floor in real life is actually quite notably not particularly fertile. So in Vintage Story, which mirrors the real world in many ways, you're not going to find much food except for maybe some blueberries in the forest. So you don't want to go into forests for food. You want to stay out here on the fields, and we've got some turnips. Turnips are money. They grow fast, they're nutritious, and prolific. And they're great for the early game. I spy some more over here. And you're going to eventually develop an eye for what these things look like at a distance. I'm looking for plants that are a different shade of green from their surroundings. Is that considered forest enough to have bears? I don't know. But there are some oak trees, which is nice. I spy some berry bushes. Oh, they're blackberries. Oh, that's new. Blackberries are a new addition in 1.22. Aside from the screaming of my own voice in my ears when we're hungry, I'm listening for footsteps, listening for growls, which is why you'll sort of see me twitch my look in various directions. If I hear a noise, it's usually the lapping of water, or maybe a raccoon. But sometimes it's a bear. And when it's a bear or a wolf, you want to run the opposite direction as fast as you can for as long as you can. Now here is a new crop in 1.22. This is fennel. Fennel is a vegetable. It was added partly to enable or assist in fishing, but it is edible by the player. It isn't as good as some other crops as far as, oh my, we're full. Let's pause on that for a moment, I suppose. Let's have a bite to eat. Let's maybe eat the 2 flax grain because they're pretty worthless. Flax is one of the lowest satiation foods in the game, and we're going to temporarily put this in our offhand. I don't want to do this very long. I'm just going to grab these, and we're going to run home and deposit our seeds and things in our home. Now you'll notice that we don't have enough cattails, in fact we don't have any cattails, for making another basket. So I think that will be the next thing we do. We need some more storage, and ground storage is okay for most things, but for food it's pretty bad. But there are cattails right here, and also in the pond next to our home, so I don't think we'll have trouble doing that. Okay, we are headed home here, and look at that. Our cooking pots and bowls are ready. Oh, that's exciting. That is very, very exciting here. We didn't get enough for 2 baskets. We have enough for 1. That will do. Let's go ahead and we're going to put our seeds into this bin. I think I'll actually remove the seeds from here. Maybe we'll put something else in here, like the grass, and maybe the extra cattails. There we go. And in go the seeds into the bin. Should be everything. Great. So, oh boy, I'm excited for this one. On to cooking. After I break this door and place it somewhere a little less bad. There. It's an indoor shutter. Okay, so we can go and pick up our bowls and our pots here just by right-clicking on them, the same way we got them up off the floor the first time. And we're going to put them inside. And you can still place them on the floor in a quad arrangement, whether they are full or empty. Let's go ahead and do that right now. So we'll put 3 on the ground here, and we'll put 3 of the bowls down. The 4th one, we can right-click directly into here. Oh, we can't because these are here. There we go. Now, on to cooking. Cooking is how we're going to stretch our food a lot. And I mean a lot longer than normal. And by normal, I mean eating them raw or just cooked like this. Now, not everything can go into a meal. If you've been hunting, you might have some red meat, some poultry, and some bushmeat. Red meat and poultry, you can use in a meal no problem, but bushmeat is a no-go. Same for the wild rhizomes. Whether cooked or raw, these cannot be used in meals. They can only be eaten as they are. If you're in the south, I believe termites are the same way. You can eat termites from the mound, but you cannot cook them into meals. Now, how to cook a meal? We're going to need a few things. We need fuel. Let's get 4 of this, perhaps. We'll start with 1. I like to babysit my fuel in the early game just to make sure it stretches out for as long as I can make it go. And you can make up to 6 meals at once in the pot by putting up to 6 items in the first 2 slots. Now, the first 2 slots must contain the same general type of food. So mushrooms can go together. You can put mushrooms and fennel because mushrooms are considered a vegetable. So as long as the first 2 are the same, then you can cook generally a meal with them. So vegetables and meat and grains. Fruit are a different story. Fruit can only be made either into jam if you have honey, or you can make sort of an oatmeal with them. If you put them in and make a porridge, you can then put your red currants or your cranberries or whatever in as well. You cannot make a meal directly with fruit as the main ingredient. If you have red meat or poultry, you can use meat to start here, and then you can also fill in. So in addition to the first 2 slots, you can do, let's say, 6 of each puffball. There we go. And then you can also fill in, and can we add 6 of these? We cannot do that, but we can at least do like a vegetable stew here. So we got puffball, fennel stew. Maybe a second helping of fennel there. And all of these will go into the meal, and they will add their satiation value to the meal. Now, what this does when you cook the meal is it's going to multiply the satiation value of everything in it. Except cheese. Tyrone, why? Give the cheese some love. But you will see every food item has a satiation value. When eaten, 50 sat. When eaten, 80 sat. 80 sat. 60 sat. When you eat them raw, that is the satiation value you'll get here in your bar. When you cook them into a meal, 1, you're going to be eating all 4 or however many items are in your serving at once, but the actual value is multiplied by 1.5. So each puffball or each mushroom is going to be 120 satiation. Each unit of fennel will be 75. Each red currant will also be 120, and so on and so forth. But wait, there's more. Whenever you eat a meal, for every full 100 points of satiation, you also get 30 seconds of hunger pause. That stops this bar from dropping entirely. You can jump, you can climb, you can sprint, you can fight, you can get hurt, you can heal, all without getting hungry again. And for us, that is a great boon, because whenever we are hungry, whenever our hunger bar is active, we get extra hungry. As a blackguard, our hunger rate is 30% higher than anybody else's. It gets worse if we put something in our offhand. Now it's 150%. And in winter, when everything is cold and we are hungry because we're cold and shivering, that could hit 200% sometimes. So we need to be really cognizant of our food. To the end, I think we should go ahead and fire this up. So we have in here puffball fennel stew. It's not going to be all that filling, but you know what? I'll take what I can get. And shortly, we'll be treated to the most satisfying sound in the game. The nice thing is that this can actually be heard for quite a distance, like maybe 15 or 20 blocks. So if you're in your base and you're waiting for food to cook, it's really easy to notice that you've stopped hearing this noise and know it's time to come check your meal. When this completes, this pot will move to the right side of the fire pit grid, and we'll take a first look at our very first meal. And there we have it. Earthy orange ceramic pot of vegetable stew. It doesn't have much satiation, 360, but you know what? It ain't nothing. So we're going to right click with our bowl on the pot, and we can then look at the camera and have a bite to eat. So as you'll see, it's much better than just eating one vegetable at a time. Again, it didn't fill up our bar that much. Now you might be hungry and want to go back for seconds, which it's a good idea to carry some food with you, like this. But This is a big but. Wait. Be patient. You don't actually want to eat another meal until your hunger pause stops. You want the hunger to resume before you eat a second meal. And the reason is that the new hunger pause overwrites the old one. It doesn't stack. So make sure you are hungry again before you start to go eat a second meal. All right, it's time for me to go and collect some more veggies, so I'm going to get to it, and I'll see you all back here when we have a nice tidy collection of seeds. Oh my goodness. Look at this, guys. We haven't gotten to this part yet, but we have found something we're going to want. High fertility soil. I'm still getting seeds right now, but it is getting late in the day. So I think tomorrow we'll come back and we'll take a look at that. I'm leaving those seeds because I have no room for them right now. I have got way too much in the way of good stuff on me already. Anyway, I'm going to continue getting seeds until it gets too dark and dangerous to continue, and then I'll head back to the home. Alright folks, we're coming in hot because the torch is right in my face. We are, for now, home safe. Let's put away the seeds and we'll see how many of each kind we got. We have a boatload of flax, which is great to see. We got 7 carrots, 13 turnips, 7 fennel, 5 parsnip, 33 spelt, and 6 onion. Great. We also got a little smattering of food to tide us over with 5 onions, 11 spelt grain, 11 field mushrooms, 2 carrots, 4 flax, 2 red currants, and 3 turnips to add to our existing stash. Not a bad haul at all. And let's go ahead and we'll cook something else to tide us over tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to get hot and sweaty. We got to work the fields. We have to now get ready to actually do some farming here, and it's a good thing that we set down roots right next to a pond. If you settled somewhere that was not near a pond, I would recommend that you probably do so, because otherwise you're going to end up waiting for rain to water your crops, which is very slow, or you're going to end up having to water your crops yourself with a watering can. And let's be real, the less manual labor, the better. We could do a pretty big mushroom meal, although it might be nice to mix it up. Some spelt porridge, and we add some red currants to it. Oh, and black currants. There we go. We can fill that pot up. Perfect. All right. I'm going to cook a few more meals, and then I'll bring you all back in the morning when we are ready to go out and work the fields. Alright, good morning folks. It is the next day. I spent the night making some new tools, including some hoes, which we will use for turning the dirt into tilled soil. So it is time for us to go and get some farming done. You will see, if you look around here, that the dirt here is low fertility soil. And if we go ahead and we till it, you're going to find that it has nutrient levels of 25% N, 25% P, and 25% K. And a correspondingly low growth speed, although that's also because the moisture is at 0. Now, mark that 25% in your mind. We're going to take a look at our seeds here. Our seeds have a nutrient consumption. It is the second item in the tooltip. You'll see that, let's see, the turnips are under 25, the parsnips are under 25, and that's it. Everything is above 25. Now, what that means is that as you plant your crops and as they're growing, they're going to slowly take those nutrients out of the farmland and into themselves, and eventually into your belly. And that will drop the nutrient levels in the soil. Those levels will recover, but only very slowly, and even slower if anything is planted in them. So in order to farm effectively, you're going to need to find at least medium fertility soil, which has a nutrient supply of 50 of each nutrient. I'm not seeing any here. Mountains and forests tend not to have medium fertility soil. But I do recall seeing some over here. That's low. Oh, here we go. Medium, right here. This is perfect for early game farming. You don't need to have the high fertility or terra preta. But I mean, smoke them if you got them. And we got them. Over here yesterday, as we were looking around for crops, I did spot a bit of high fertility soil. It's unlikely to be enough for us to just use that, but it's a great start to our high fertility soil collection. So let's go grab it. Where was that? Ah, here we go. Right here with the rye seeds. Yes, let's get the rye. Get the one rye. And we're going to use our shovel. We're going to dig this out. The better the soil, the faster your crops grow, the more food you have. The less time you spend waiting for them to grow. 32, half a stack. What a snack. My goodness, that is a great find. These, you can look at the sides of hills, and if you spot any suspiciously dark soil, then it's probably going to be high fertility. I'm only seeing medium around here, which isn't a concern. High fertility only generates in very small patches. So we're going to go and we're going to fill out the rest of our soil needs for farming with some medium fertility soil. We'll just get that over here by our base, where I am sure there are no bears at the moment, and where we have a much clearer view of our surroundings. There we go, that should do. We have half a stack of high fertility and a stack and change of medium. That will be plenty for us to get started. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to actually clear out this pond and along the edges as well. Just get rid of these flowers. We'll put them over here for now. These are a lot less bushy than they used to be, which is both a good and a bad thing. I'm also going to tear out probably all of this stuff. We don't need this getting in our way. I'm also going to relocate our cattail roots to somewhere a little more put together. Okay, pond cleared. It is now time for us to start placing down our soil. Let's start right here. I'm going to cut away this corner a little bit. Like so. And we're just going to fill in, starting with a high fertility, in a little square like this. This is my preferred design. You don't have to follow this. I just find it to be the most space efficient as far as water is concerned. And at this early stage in the game, beware that you can't move water. So if we accidentally fill that block in, well, we'll have to dig this up and put it somewhere else. But did you know that you can move water in the early game? If you are lucky enough to live near a mountain with glaciers, you can actually go up and get some glacier ice with your hands, bring it down the mountain, and plop it somewhere, and it will melt over time into more water. The more you know. Anyway, I'm going to build this out. You could also, if you wanted to, do like rows. I just find rows a bit more of a pain to deal with because they're less space efficient, and when you're harvesting them, although going along the line is great in the early game, it's less efficient when you have a scythe later in the game. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill this in, and I'll get back with all of you when we're done. And there we go. We have our dirt in place. It is now time for us to actually till the soil, which we need a hoe for, and we just hold right click on the blocks and we will slowly make our way through them. And these hoes have very low durability. If you find grass growing on your blocks, which will do pretty quickly, you do have to remove the grass before you can till the soil. They changed that in order to remove an exploit where you could potentially till soil underneath wild crops, and the game would treat them as if they were grown crops. And you'll see here that rather than the red numbers that we saw over on our tilled block here, where it's 12% growth speed and 0% moisture, it is now 75% moisture. And so all the numbers at the top are green, showing it'll grow 88% in medium and 97% speed in high fertility. Now, 75% moisture is the most moisture you'll get from irrigation like this, with water next to your blocks. If the farmland is farther from the water, you will have 50% moisture when it is 2 blocks away, and 25% moisture when it is 1 block away. I need more food, and I need other hoe. Alright, farmland is now ready to grow. I'm spying some more flax right here, so I'll go ahead and pick these up since we're already here. Okay, we've got all of our seeds here, and as I mentioned before, each of them has a nutrient consumption, and each of them consumes a specific nutrient. We have K for flax and carrots, we have N for fennel and turnip and the spelt, and then we have P for parsnip and onion. Now, my recommendation, in order to keep things easier to maintain later on, is to plant all of your crops of the same nutrient type in some pattern, whether it be a row or a block or even separate fields. That's your best bet to avoid confusion later, because you have to rotate your crops later on. Because once the N, the nitrogen, is depleted from the soil here, you'll need to move over maybe your phosphorus or P crops or your potassium or K crops to that to use the other nutrients that weren't taken up by the nitrogen-loving crops. I'm going to start over here with those nitrogen crops. I'm going to plant some turnips, and then the fennel, and then fill the remaining ones in with some spelt. We'll start with that. In the next row, I'm going to plant some onion seeds and the parsnip seeds. And I'm going to leave the rest of this empty for now. We call it fallow, I suppose. And in this last one, I'm going to focus first on the carrots and then on flax. Flax is a very important crop that we're going to need oodles of later on. It's not so important in the very early game, but the faster you start growing your flax, the more convenient life will be as you progress through the game. Now, I'm tempted somewhat to plant some flax in here, just because phosphorus-loving crops are somewhat less abundant than N and K crops. So I think I might do half of this. And that way, if we find a few more onions or parsnips, we can plant 5 of them here. And then when we rotate the crops, I'll just flip the flax over to here and grow it in this half over here, and then I can do the other crops in this half over here. Now, crops are yummy, yummy vegetables and grains and things. And do you know what loves to eat crops, aside from people? Animals, that's right. You need to protect your crops from animals, because they will come and they will graze in your crops, and you will hate it. You will hate every second of it. So I'm going to go ahead and, I'm going to put some of this rammed earth in, probably making a little bit more as I do along the way. So now we have a little bit of a border to our crops here. We now need to put some fences up. Now, we only have a few sticks, and we could make fences by putting our sticks in here and a knife like this, and we would get 1 fence per stick, which is pretty efficient. But there's an even more efficient means of getting fences. And that's going to be the rough-hewn or crude fences, which we can make with pine logs. If we open up the handbook, you'll see we have rough-hewn fence pine. 2 sticks and 2 logs give us 8 fences. We also will need to make a gate to get in and out, which requires 4 logs and 4 sticks. It does give us, however, 2 gates. So let's go ahead and make some of that here. I'm going to put 1 gate right here and 1 over here. And that way, if we get trapped in here, like if we're farming and a drifter or a bear shows up, we at least have a back door to escape from. Now again, fences are considered more than 1 block high, and they also block enemy pathfinding, or any pathfinding really. So just 1 fence high, is enough to keep all animals out. However, a 4 block gap does not keep animals out. Get out of here. Yeah, I see you. They will smell your food. They will literally smell your crops from a long, long ways away. Do a little brush clearing, get some sticks. And 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. Our crops are safe. And boy, is that a good feeling. I am already feeling so much more secure in our food and our future in general. Anyway, folks, it is dinner time. And it's also time for us to say goodbye for the day. I hope you enjoyed this foray into how to form and fire clay and farm and feed yourself. This was a big episode about several topics, but they were all related to getting food in your belly and making it last longer, stretching your food supply out, which is vital in the early game, especially if you're a blackguard. But folks, that's going to do it for this episode of the Vintage Story Guide. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. In the next episode, we're going to continue our food observations, and we're going to add something to our diet. I'm thinking a little protein. So, to that end, we're going to be learning how to hunt, how to fish, how to trap animals, and possibly even raise them. Yes, all you Vintage Story veterans, you can actually raise animals in the Stone Age. A couple at least. I want to give a special thanks to our channel members, whose names you see scrolling by right now. If you'd like to see your name in the credits or have me butcher your name, make sure to check out the channel memberships and see what's on tap. The following members have gone the extra mile to support the channel by subscribing at the Seraph tier. Their names are Elizabeth Woolley, Foreverfish14, Inger Raymond, Joshua Saruda, Linda Harris, Oak Tree, Servus, Ty Luna, and Wade Parker. As always, my name has been Kurazar. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.